This seems to be the most expansive, energizing, exciting way to live I can possibly think of, or that certainly I've ever experienced. Constantly be in the mode of preparing for your next level. Hello, my friends, and welcome to this episode of the Life Reinvention Chats. My name is Nash Mackey. I'm a rapid breakthrough and personal performance coach to high performers, and I'm very excited to be spending this time with you today, talking about a very important topic: being prepared to hold what you say you want out of life. It's very interesting to observe that so many people have these incredible goals, these things that they are aspiring toward for, and yet, if you dig a little bit deeper, they don't believe that they're actually worthy of holding or having, in other words, what they say that they want. If this is your experience, you're probably never going to actually experience what you say you want. And you're going to live in a fantasy, and you're going to beat yourself up, and you're going to work far harder than necessary. So we're going to talk about preparing yourself to hold what you want in life. This is a very, very important conversation. It's a question I come back to in my journaling quite often, and it is the question of, in what ways might I not be prepared to hold the life that I say I want? For example, you might say that you want to be loved and have a great relationship, but do you like the person you see in the mirror? Maybe you say you want more money, more finances, but you've got no container to actually hold it, and you wouldn't know what to do with it if you got it. You've got no plan for investing or for growing that money. You say you want it, but what would you do with it? Just saying you want something in life isn't enough. Or you say you want greater health, and yet you don't even have a gym membership. You're not putting money toward hiring someone who could support you with your health. You're not prioritizing that. So I guess what I'm saying here is, do your actions match your words? And if they don't, I hope this conversation gets you to think about that and bridge the gap to make sure that your actions match your words. Because if you are saying one thing, but then you're acting in a different way, that erodes your self-belief, it erodes your confidence, it erodes the relationship you have with yourself, and you end up not trusting yourself. And your word will mean nothing. And when you make a commitment, be it in your journal, be it at the start of a new year, be it to someone else, you will have this little voice that creeps up in your mind that says, no, you won't. No, you don't. You never do. And that is not a fun way to live at all. It's called a conscience. We all have one. Sometimes it's a little questionable whether or not some people do, but I believe every single human being comes inbuilt with a conscience that we are either listening to or we are not, but it's always there. And if you are constantly going against your conscience, which is that part of you that knows better, essentially, then it's going to put you in a really tough experience of life. But if you can be someone who listens to what you believe to be best for you, listen to your conscience, listen to what your higher self, if you want to call it that, is calling you into and is saying would be best for you. And then you say to yourself, yeah, this is important to me. And then you go and start acting in line with that. What that does for your self-belief is profound, even one action. And actually, the first action is most often the hardest. You go and take that first action, and straight away, if you've been telling yourself that you are not someone who follows through with your word, and you've not had this level of trust with yourself because you've never actually fulfilled those promises that you've made to yourself, that first action, a lot can be shaken up in a very short amount of time. And that's where you find yourself on a new path. And then the opportunity you have is to continue to keep your word to yourself. Now, a huge part of this is maybe under promising and over delivering, because there's a lot of people out there who think there's something noble in over promising. So maybe what it is important for you to start doing when it comes to preparing to hold the results you say you want in life is to promise less but deliver more. This is a big deal, especially if you run a business, but really for anyone else out there, I believe. If you're working for someone else, if you've got a family, just if you've got a group of friends, I'm sure everyone has at least some setup in their life where you find yourself working alongside other people in some dynamic. So under promise, over deliver. Now, again, your conscience will kick in if you're promising too little because you're not backing yourself. So yes, you want to promise less, but you also don't want to shortchange yourself so much through the commitments you make. You just don't want to go promising so much in such a ridiculous amount of time when you've actually had no evidence in your past that you are someone who is capable of achieving the results that you're promising to someone else, because that then doesn't look good in your eyes, but also to them, it doesn't look good either. And they become a little wary of whether or not they can trust you moving forward because you said so much, but you didn't deliver. So a lot of people say they want a greater experience of life, but they don't believe that they deserve it. This is a big deal. And this is where we're again going to talk about closing that gap. You say you want a greater experience of life. Phenomenal. I hope you do. I hope that there's so much for you in life that you are looking forward to, that you are aspiring to bring about. That's a very healthy sign. If you are aiming for more, if you are aiming higher. And as we've spoken about in previous episodes, it's important to do that from a place of gratitude for what you have right now, because what you have is what you have, and what you have is what is available to you to use to create greater results. So it's worth being grateful for. When you look at those things that you say you would love to experience, what comes up in your body? Is it a fear that maybe it's not actually something that you could ever have? That is worth taking note of. When you look at the goals and the vision you might have for your life, then observe what is the initial thought that comes up when you read those goals. Is it a fear? Is it a feeling of overwhelm? Whatever it is, if it's anything other than a sense of excitement and almost like a fire in your belly, if that's not the energy where you are willing to do whatever it takes to produce those results, and when I say whatever it takes, of course, I mean within reason, whatever it takes in a way that is best for you and best for other people, is there a fire in your belly that gets stirred? We could call that inspiration. Or is it a knot that feels like that's just not possible for me? If that's the case, it doesn't mean that those goals are not possible for you at all. In fact, if you have had ideas come to you that of things that you would love to experience in the future, there's a reason you have those goals and those ideas. It's then worth addressing that feeling. Why is that feeling showing up for you? When in your life did you decide that you are not capable of having those results that you say you want so much? Why not you? It's worth unpacking that. And then ultimately calling out those limiting beliefs one by one until you look at those goals and say, yes, that is possible for me. Why not me? I'm willing to do what it takes, again, in a way that is good for you and great for other people until I achieve those outcomes. Why not you? Now, maybe you're saying you want so much more in life, but do you actually have space for it in your life? Does your calendar have space to hold more? A huge part of what I've seen allows the highest performing individuals I know to do incredibly well. A huge part of what I've found works best for me is operate in life from the mentality of preparing for my next level constantly. And this seems to be the most expansive, energizing, exciting way to live I can possibly think of, or that certainly I've ever experienced. Constantly be in the mode of preparing for your next level. Appreciate where you are, but be in that process of preparation, of optimizing yourself for that next level. So when it shows up, you are ready for it. I've seen it play out in my life, and certainly in the lives of many of my clients, where what they have been saying they want so much actually shows up in their life. For example, they've been saying they want this job, and then an opportunity opens up. But then all of their insecurities bubble to the surface and they get terrified and they run from the thing that they said they wanted so much because they actually weren't prepared for it. Don't let this be your experience. This is why when you set those goals, it's important to notice what comes up in your body. If it's a fear, if it's an insecurity, if it's a doubt, if it's a second guessing of yourself, which is another way of saying doubt. If it's anything other than that fire in your belly, that inspiration, which is a mixture of maybe a little bit of fear, but also this mad excitement or this incredible excitement that's there. And you are saying, hey, even though this is terrifying, it excites me so much and I will do it. I'm willing to walk through the fire. I'm willing to make this happen. That is what some people might call passion. There's almost like this sense of, oh, it's going to be a little bit terrifying, but I'm just so excited to make this happen. It just feels so right to me. That is the energy ultimately we want. And that's where you're going to experience the maximum growth. But if it's just a full wave of, I can't do this, this is not something I am capable of ever experiencing or achieving or doing, who am I to even try? If it's that sort of energy, you're going to hold yourself back. And again, who are you not to? Who are you not to? That's my question for you. So prepare for opportunities when they show up. How do you do that? By looking at the goals you've set, by looking at the things you would love to experience and achieve, and then asking yourself, who would I need to be to hold that? What would my calendar need to look like to have space for that? So, for example, let me make this really tangible for you. If you were saying you want to run a marathon, does your calendar actually have all the blocks of time built into it that are allowing you to train yourself and optimize your body so you can achieve that goal of running a marathon? Or is it just a wish? So when you put things in your calendar, it's making it real, it's locking it in. Don't be someone who lives off wishful thinking. Be someone who schedules what you say, who literally creates space for what you say. Create space in your calendar, create space in your life, clear space in your life. And if you are in a state of just heightened overwhelm now, and you're saying you want these new results, but you're not managing what you have currently, then that's an issue. You want to learn how to develop more bandwidth so you make space for something greater. Now, that might mean going through your current lifestyle and cleaning it up a bit. That might mean developing habits around waking up and sleeping at better times where you have more time. And it's not more time, you have more or a better use of your time because you've actually got the sleep and the wake up time dialed in a little bit more. It might mean letting go of some of that time you're spending on these tasks that are just absolute wastes of your time and energy, but redesigning your lifestyle so you've got space to hold more. Think about it a bit like a farmer who wants to grow a crop of a particular fruit or vegetable. They need to clear the land before they go and plant that crop and expect to harvest. You got to clear that land. You got to clear space to allow more to grow. It's a very basic principle, but often we forget it and we're just caught up in overwhelm, franticness, expecting new results. Where would they fit? Where would those new results fit? So create space, create bandwidth within yourself, create bandwidth within your schedule to actually accommodate those results you want. This is really basic, but also easy to overlook stuff for all of us. These are fundamentals that we get to come back to. Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So prepare. A lot of people are not preparing, and rather they are repairing. What that means is they are constantly in this mode of patching up, trying to catch up. It's not a great way to live. It's not a fulfilling way to live by any means. Prepare instead of repair. How do you do that? You cast your mind beyond where you are. You think about what you'd love to be experiencing in your relationship, your health, your finances, your career, your social life, all the other important dimensions of your life. You think about what you'd love to be experiencing, and then you prepare, you optimize your current lifestyle to at least hold the next level of what you say you want. It's impossible to fully know, say, for example, if you are aiming to build a multi-billion-dollar or million-dollar business, I don't know how big you're dreaming. It's impossible to know how much of your time and energy and what that experience will fully be like. But you can absolutely get clear on what those first steps might look like and what would need to happen to get the ball rolling and how much time would be required in your schedule to still take care of your current responsibilities, but still have time to step into that. You can start there. There's a great quote, which is start with what you know and let what you know grow. But start, schedule it in, prepare, work on yourself, get ready. Because when those results or those opportunities present themselves, you better be ready to hold it. I think a lot of regret comes from people who are presented with great opportunities, but they're not ready to hold it because they've not done the work on themselves. They've not developed that internal fortitude, that belief in themselves where they say, hey, even though I'm terrified, even though this feels so big and so new, I'm going to give this my best. I'm going to give everything to this I possibly can. I'm going to get the support. I'm going to learn what I need to learn. And I'm going to find a way to hold this. I think that that way of living ultimately leads to a life where there are far less regrets than someone else who might not be prepared for the opportunities that are before them. So I hope this episode has given you something to think about. Are you prepared to hold the results that you say you want? If you've received some value from this, please leave a comment below. Please share this out with the people you care about. Please like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Life Reinvention Chats.